Yo, what's up? I want to state this for the record. This will be my last time replying about why Cris Carter lost his job. And the only reason why I'm doing this video is the simple fact that I heard a lot of wild and crazy accusations on social media as well as YouTube. I saw a lot of clickbait titles that suggest that Nick Wright is the reason why Cris Carter is no longer working for Fox Sports 1. I've heard crazy things like, who's Jana Wolf's dating. She's dating another woman, and how Cris Carter implied that Jenna Wolf is way too attractive to be in a relationship with another woman. I have also heard crazy and wild accusations that, Cris Carter is a former addict and he's fighting this addiction problem every single day. And maybe the addiction got the better of Cris Carter. And that's the reason why Cris Carter no longer works for Fox Sports 1. I've also heard that, Cris Carter, he divorced his first wife who's been through the good and the bad. Now he's dating a much younger woman who's Caucasian. And that's the reason why Cris Carter is no longer working for Fox Sports 1. I have heard a lot of crazy, wild accusations. At the end of the day, no one truly knows why Cris Carter is no longer working for Fox Sports 1. Everyone has theories, but I feel like a lot of these theories are tinfoil hat theories, okay? They're not credible and they're not viable, okay? So, I have a theory of myself. We all have theories, but let's not, go off into the deep end on why Cris Carter no longer works for Fox Sports 1 with all those other crazy, outlandish things that has been mentioning, okay? To understand why Cris Carter no longer works for Fox Sports 1, you have to understand the person. Cris Carter's attitude can be abrasive. He can be messy sometimes. And he can be outlandish. He can be very, very loud. Okay, he's like a miniature Stephen A. Smith that really doesn't know his boundaries. He's a line stepper. He oversteps his boundaries. So there's a couple of things I've noticed on social media, on Twitter. I followed Cris Carter as well as Jenna Wolf, as well as Nick Wright, a lot of them. And there was a recent tweet that Cris Carter tweeted on social media and is about to appear right about now. And this was Jenna Wolf's response to Cris Carter. And the tweet is no longer available. You cannot see this tweet. It was basically a response to what Cris Carter tweeted to Jenna Wolf. And to understand Jenna Wolf, she's very proud. She's not like the other female analysts and hosts on other networks that use their beauty and use how attractive they are. She wants to be considered just like the male analysts. Okay, she's very credible. She's been on other networks where she didn't have to flaunt her, being attractive or beautiful, okay? And she wanted to be treated just like the boys, quote unquote. And she's very proud of how she got where she is today. And when you deal with somebody like this, you can't overstep your bounds. You really can't say colorful jokes to individuals like this, because sometimes they will take it the wrong way or take it exactly what it is. Okay, so Cris Carter tweeted about Jenna Wolf sneezing and making a mess in her face, and basically implying that there was mucus all on her face and things like that, just being funny, being coy about it. But once again, Cris Carter is that type of personality that's very colorful, outlandish, very loud, can be rude sometimes, and very, very messy. And sometimes that clashes with people that want to be considered professional, wants to be considered strong, wants to be considered, wants to have the same respect as everyone else in the room. Okay, so when you're dealing with a Jenna Wolf personality and a Cris Carter personality, you got one that's more laid back, sometimes a line stepper, and then you got another one who's very professional in the workplace. Sometimes these personalities do not work together. The chemical imbalance is off with those types of personalities. Okay, it's okay to laugh occasionally, but not it's okay to make fun of something, but not make fun of someone. Okay, and I think Jenna Wolf was taken off of that recent tweet, and she responded, and now she took the tweet out of her timeline, and you don't really know her response to Cris Carter. Okay, so that's one thing I've noticed. That's one theory I have noticed about, and this is like 10/14, and that was a week before Cris Carter is no longer working for FS1. Now, at the end of the day, I feel like the argument was the final straw of Cris Carter, but I feel like FX1 has a lot of little things like this, as well as reports from other personalities that work for Fox Sports 1 that clash with Cris Carter, attitude, sort of say. And like I said, Cris Carter can come off as, I'm better than you, talking down to you, very colorful, very abrasive. He's always going to be a line stepper, okay? He's never going to know where the boundaries are, because he's going to walk over those boundaries, because he feels like, I'm the host of the show. I can say what I want, do what I want, okay? So I felt like from 10/14, because the next week, that's when all this other stuff played out. Him arguing with Fox Sports 1 about Thursday Night Football, wanting to be a host on Thursday Night Football. Cris Carter having an issue with, management decision on going a different direction. Even though they, said to Cris Carter they will think about it. But thinking about it is not a guaranteed, it's not guaranteed to Cris Carter. They thought about it. They just went to another direction. At the end of the day, Cris Carter is the reason why Cris Carter no longer works for FX1. It has nothing to do with Nick Wright. A lot of people want to think that Nick Wright wanted that host chair. He wanted to be the host of the show, which, by the way, if you've been watching First Things First, Jenna Wolf has always sat right next to Cris Carter, and the host, the guest host, the mini hosts that they had throughout these past couple of weeks have always sit in Cris Carter's chair. Now, Nick Wright did say on social media as well on First Things First. I can't get any clarity on if he said this on First Things First. I know he said this on social media that they gonna miss Cris Carter as a friend. Now, a lot of people implied, you say that you miss him as a friend, but you didn't say you miss him as a partner. You didn't say you miss him as a worker, as a host. You just said you're just gonna miss him as a friend. Which, by the way, Nick Wright, Nick Wright and Cris Carter are still friends to this day. Okay, Nick Wright is in an interracial relationship. I don't know why that will, should be in. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because of the simple fact that people are laminating on social media that Nick Wright had an issue with Cris Carter. He backstabbed him. And the dynamic, he didn't like the dynamic and the chemistry and things of that nature. And Nick Wright is in an interracial relationship with a black woman, okay, which he's proud of it. If you didn't know that now, I don't know what you've been doing for the past couple of years. He's always profiling that on social media. And he's always mentioned that on FX1. Okay, whenever he has the opportunity or when it's suited that he can be able to relay that type of information. Okay, so Cris Carter is the reason why Cris Carter no longer works for Fox Sports 1, for the reasonings I stated throughout this video. Cris Carter's, when you talk about his personality, it can be abrasive. Cris Carter can be colorful sometimes. Cris Carter can overstep boundaries. He's a line stepper, okay? Cris Carter on ESPN and Fox Sports 1. Sometimes he will curse on live television, okay? Because he does not, sometimes his emotions gets him confused, and, well, not confused, but sometimes he misspeaks and misspoke. He's very passionate, and his passion sometimes blind him to the fact that, you're on live TV. You might want to, scale back some. You might not want to use colorful language or colorful words. And sometimes when he's passionate about something, he's going to speak his mind. And in his mind, it may have it may be profanity laced, or it may be it's going to offend someone or a certain group or a certain nationality or a certain religious group. Fox Sports 1 is not what it was 3 or 4 years ago, okay? Because the older management is no longer there. Jamie is no longer there. He was the one who wanted these abrasive personalities on Fox Sports 1. He wanted Fox Sports 1 to be like ESPN back in the day. Okay, and that's why all of these abrasive personalities who no longer works for ESPN now work for Fox Sports 1. Okay, so when Jamie got let go of his sexual misconduct in the workplace, new management came, and now they're trying to clean up Fox Sports 1 for the possibility of Fox Sports 1 being sold to someone else. Viacom could buy Fox Sports 1. There's a possibility, and there's a lot of rumors that suggest that Disney could buy Fox Sports 1. Wow. You was competing with ESPN. Now you're going to be under the same umbrella as ESPN. Disney owns ABC, ESPN, the George Lucas projects, the Star Wars projects, Marvel, and now they're going to, and they own the rights to 20th Century Fox, a lot of IPs of television shows and movies and things of that nature. And there is a possibility of Fox Sports 1 being bought by Disney. Now, if that happens, everything's changing. Because now you're going to have to be under the same umbrella as ESPN. It's supposed to be a family-run show. And a lot of these abrasive, talented, these personalities with these abrasive emotions are going to have to either get with the program, or they're going to have to move on, exit stage left. I feel like Jason Whitlock is going to be the next corporate. But I feel like Jason Whitlock is seasoned enough where he can scale it back some. He may not, he may not have viewpoints that's going to offend somebody, that's going to be very abrasive, and he can fit with the program if Disney owns Fox Sports 1. By the way, there have been reports that Fox Sports Radio is going to be divvied out to whoever wants it. Magic Johnson has been interested in Fox Sports 1 Radio if Fox Sports 1 gets bought out by either Viacom or Disney. I feel like the biggest corporation as of right now is Disney. They own all media, the successful ones anyway. And I feel like they have the biggest money if they really truly want Fox Sports 1. But if Disney does not buy Fox Sports 1, it's going to be the simple fact that they didn't want it. It wasn't the simple fact that they didn't have the money to buy it. Okay. So, as far as Cris Carter goes, Cris Carter got Cris Carter fired. If there's someone to blame, he needs to look in the mirror and look at himself, because the climate, he didn't understand that the climate around him at Fox has changed, and it has changed for like the past couple of months. I don't know if people have been paying attention or they're aware of this. Colin Cowherd has scaled back some. Sometimes he'll say some outlandish stuff that can come off as very abrasive. Sometimes it can come off as very offensive, okay? Even Jason Whitlock, to a certain extent, even though he's still the same Jason Whitlock, if you're talking about LeBron James or Colin Kaepernick, two individuals that at the end of the day, it's not, if he's being hard on either of those individuals, I don't think upper management at Fox Sports 1 is going to say anything. They know that drives ratings, okay? But when you talk about politics, that's the whole reason why Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, Jason Whitlock, and Cris Carter, well, it used to be Cris Carter. That's the whole reason why they went to Fox Sports 1. They went to Fox Sports 1 because they can say whatever they wanted to say. They didn't want to be under an umbrella or a leash or a certain force field where you can only talk about this, but you can't talk about these other things because we're a family-run show at Disney, okay? They want to be family entertainment. I apologize for the noise in the background. So that's what's going on. I hope that, I hope a lot of you guys are understanding and fitting the pieces together on why Cris Carter no longer works for Fox Sports 1. It's one of those things. I've been following him on social media. He's been quoting Bible verses, but he really hasn't gotten into the crutch of, about what happened and what took place at Fox Sports 1, nor he's going to. I'm pretty sure, even though, and there's another report, a rumor that says, Cris Carter, they canceled his contract now. They don't owe him any money. I'm pretty sure this is going to go to grievance, a grievance hearing. And I feel like Cris Carter's going to get most of his money, not all of his money. He's still going to, and that's the reason why Cris Carter hasn't said anything on social media, because he already said enough, okay? Fox is going to look at it as we got enough evidence that's going to tell that in this hearing that's going to indicate that Cris Carter is the reason why he voided his own contract, okay? And that's why Cris Carter's not saying anything. I'm pretty sure he done hired lawyers that's going to represent him, and that's pretty much that's pretty much the MO of a lot of lawyers. Look, don't go on social media talking about it and this, that, and the third. Let's do all the talking in the hearings, okay? But at the end of the day, he's going to get some of his money, not all of his money, and he's also got to look at it as don't smear your brand, don't smear your name on social media. It's not worth it, okay? I'm pretty sure that he's looking at the next opportunity and the next job, and we talked about that in several videos. I don't think he has an opportunity to go back to ESPN. He definitely don't have an opportunity to go back to Fox Sports 1. I feel like Cris Carter is probably going to, go to the NFL Network. He's got a lot of knowledge. He has a lot of relationships over there at NFL Network. Possibly go back to CBS Sports, okay, and cover AFC. He has a lot of. He still have some. Friends over at CBS that can, possibly land him a job there. But as far as him getting a Fox 1 type contract, he's never going to get that. He's never going to get the opportunity to host his own show unless he's doing a podcast or is he creating a YouTube channel. But no national network is going to back Cris Carter with his own show. They've been there, they've done that. ESPN did that with Game Day, and Cris Carter would say a lot of colorful things on ESPN Countdown. You can check out the clips for yourself. And he also did that with First Things First. I mean, he wasn't even on First Things First long enough. And if you look at recent of old clips and footage of what Cris Carter has said, he said some colorful language on live shows on First Things First when it's live. He also said a lot of color. He also been very abrasive to a lot of topics and a lot of personalities of those topics. And I just don't see a possibility of some large network give him his own morning show again. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to, bring him in as a host, as an NFL analyst. Oh, that's his expertise. So that's as far as it's going to go for Cris Carter. He's going to have to work He's going to have to work and build his brand up. He's definitely going to have to, peel it back some on how he talks about certain topics and only safe topics, okay? The NFL news, sports, okay? When it comes to politics or politics that affect sports, I feel like he should stay away from topics like that. Hey, Cris Carter, I know a lot of people didn't like him. because he was very abrasive. I can understand why a lot of people doesn't like them, but I hope this answered everyone's question. A lot of people were replying in my video from my other channel, and this is the replies of all your replies from that video. I'm gonna upload it not only on this channel but also on my other channel. And I'm sorry and I apologize if you stayed this far. I apologize for it to being long. Okay, but it's your boy. I'm out. Deuces.